I fear not the dark itself, but what may lurk within it. Welcome to Lurk, bringing you creepy, strange, and bone-chilling stories, with your host, Jamie Jackson.
Hey lurkers, welcome to another spine-chilling episode of Lurk. We're diving into the darkest corners of the paranormal, where history and horror collide. Tonight, we're creeping through Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo, a place where the roars of lions mix with the whispers of the dead. If you're new to Lurk, grab some sage and hold tight. For our veteran lurkers, you know what's up. Flashlight on, and let's get lurking into the haunted heart of this iconic zoo. Tucked along Lake Michigan's shore, Lincoln Park Zoo spans 35 acres in Chicago's Lincoln Park neighborhood. Founded in 1868, it's one of America's oldest zoos, housing nearly 200 species, from gorillas in the Regenstein Center for African Apes to penguins in the Kovler Sea Lion Pool. By day, it's a family-friendly hotspot, buzzing with laughter and animal calls. But by night, it's a paranormal playground, where the air feels heavy with unseen eyes. This zoo isn't just about wildlife. It's built on a graveyard. Beneath its paths lie the remains of the Chicago City Cemetery, active from the 1840s to the 1860s. Add in tragedies like the infamous Suicide Bridge, and you've got a recipe for restless spirits. From ghostly women in white to spectral children, Lincoln Park Zoo is a haunted hotspot where the past refuses to stay buried. Let's uncover its dark history and chilling encounters. The zoo's story starts with death. In 1843, the Chicago City Cemetery opened on Chicago's north side, spanning what's now the zoo and parts of Lincoln Park. It was the final resting place for over 35,000 souls, Catholics, Jews, wealthy elites, and thousands of unnamed poor in the Potter's Field, plus 4,000 Confederate prisoners from Camp Douglas, a brutal Union prison camp. Its lakeside location caused horrors. Floods washed caskets ashore, and decomposing remains polluted the water, triggering cholera outbreaks. By 1866, the city ordered its closure, relocating bodies to Graceland and Rose Hill cemeteries. The relocation was a disaster. Shoddy records, unmarked graves, and the 1871 Great Chicago Fire, which burned many tombstones, left an estimated 10,000 to 25,000 bodies behind. In 1868, the land was turned into a park. The zoo's story begins with an elegant gift, 2 pairs of mute swans from New York's Central Park, sent to the Lincoln Park commissioners. Oliver B. Green, a contractor with New York ties, requested the swans to adorn the marshy parkland north of the city. On August 26, 1868, the swans arrived, soon joined by donated elk, wolves, a puma, and peacocks. The zoo grew organically with early enclosures crafted from limestone slabs and iron fences. A bur oak, older than Chicago's 1833 founding, still stands near the farm in the zoo, a silent witness to the land's ancient roots. Under the director Cy DeVry, 1888 to 1919, the zoo expanded, acquiring elephants, monkeys, and a lioness named Duchess from Barnum and Bailey Circus. Marlin Perkins, director from 1944 to 1962, brought fame through Zoo Parade and Wild Kingdom, founding the Lincoln Park Zoological Society in 1959. The 1970s and 1980s introduced naturalistic exhibits like the Great Ape House in 1976, and in 1995 the Zoological Society assumed management from the Chicago Park District, keeping the zoo free. Modern exhibits include the Regenstein African Journey in 2003, Pritzker Penguin Cove in 2016, and the revamped Kovler Lion House. With 200 species from rhinos to flamingos, the zoo is a Chicago treasure, its skyline views framed by the Nature Boardwalk's Turtle Shell Pavilion. The zoo grew into a leader in animal care, with cage-free exhibits. Yet the cemetery's legacy fuels the zoo's haunted aura. The land's trauma, cholera, the 1871 fire that killed 300 and displaced 100,000, and unmarked graves, creates a restless energy. Nearby Lincoln Park saw the 1929 St. Valentine's Day massacre, which we did cover in an episode, so you might want to go back and check that out, and the 1982 Tylenol murders, deepening the area's dark lore. The zoo's limestone bedrock may amplify electromagnetic fields, intensifying paranormal activity, making it a beacon for ghost hunters. And the land's past kept resurfacing. In 1962, barn construction unearthed a skeleton, reburied on site. A 1990s parking lot dig found more remains, some in decaying coffins. But the tragic history of the park doesn't just come from the forgotten buried there. There have also been many tragic deaths that took place at the park. From its early days, most of the deaths here were mostly children who met their demise on the Lake Michigan shore or in the lagoon which stretches between the park and the lake, just west of today's Lakeshore Drive. Others made their way to the relative tranquility of the park in desperate straits to poison themselves, drown themselves in the lake or one of the park's ponds, shoot themselves, or otherwise pass from their weariness by their own hands. Most who died by self-inflicted means, however, were the estimated 50 to 100 souls who jumped, or otherwise did themselves in, from the top of a panoramic steel high bridge built over the lagoon in 1893, a walkway which quickly became known as Suicide Bridge. Built for scenic views, it became a site of despair, with hundreds ending their lives by hanging or jumping. One heartbreaking case involved sisters Emma and Claire Pontius, ages 12 and 10, who died in 1908 after falling into the lagoon. Their grandmother believed they jumped, mourning their mother's death and suffering abuse from their stepmother. A witness noted they didn't scream, hinting at intent. The bridge was torn down in 1919, but its tragedy lingers. These events, forgotten graves, tragic deaths, and disturbed remains, have soaked the zoo in restless energy. Construction in the 1960s, 1980s, and 1990s likely stirred spirits, fueling paranormal activity that's still reported today. Lincoln Park Zoo is a ghost hunter's paradise, with apparitions, poltergeists, and unexplained phenomena reported for decades. Hotspots like the Lion House, Primate House, and Cafe Brower are crawling with activity, backed by gripping witness accounts. Let's meet the zoo's spirits and hear from those who face them. The Kovler Lion House, built in 1912, is a historic landmark plagued by a ghostly woman in Victorian attire. They call her the Lady in White. She glides near the lion enclosures or appears in the ladies' restroom mirrors, dissolving when approached. Linked to the cemetery era, she may be a mourner trapped in time. Guests report flickering lights, slamming doors, and an oppressive air. In 2019, a visitor named Jenna told Windy City Ghosts, "I saw a woman in a long dress by the lion exhibit. She looked solid, but when I blinked, she vanished. The air felt like it was pressing on me." A tour participant told the Chicago Tribune in 2024, "In the Lion House restroom, I saw a woman's reflection, long dress, bonnet, and pale. I turned, but the room was empty. The lights flickered, and I bolted." Her friend added, "The air felt heavy, like someone was breathing on my neck. Similar reports were noted for decades. The basement, off limits to the public, is a hotbed of activity, with staff hearing footsteps and feeling icy chills. Zoo volunteer Sarah shared her 2019 encounter with the Chicago paranormal investigators. She said, "I was locking up the lion house after sunset. The zoo felt eerie, like someone was watching me. As I closed the staff door, I saw a woman in a white dress by the lion enclosure. I shouted, 'Ma'am, we're closed.' She didn't budge. I started walking toward her, but she just melted away. I checked the security cameras. Nothing. I haven't worked nights since." Near the polar bear habitat, a man in a fedora haunts a bench, his face etched with sorrow. In 2023, a security guard told the Chicago Tribune, "At 2 a.m., I saw him sitting, head bowed. I asked if he was okay, but he shrugged and walked into the dark. When I followed, the path was empty." Some tie him to the potter's field, a lost soul unable to depart. His presence brings sudden cold, and EMF meters spike during the haunted history tours. The South Pond, reimagined as the Nature Boardwalk in 2010, harbors a sinister entity. A spectral hand reportedly rises from the water, tugging at visitors. In 2022, a mother reported to guest services that a hand grabbed my son from the lagoon and pulled him in. The boy, soaked but unharmed, was shaken. Similar incidents span decades, possibly linked to cholera victims buried near the marsh. Visitors hear whispers or see ripples without cause. The primate house is home to spectral children, possibly cemetery orphans or victims of the lagoon. In 2011, medium Colleen Nadas sensed playful but confused spirits during an investigation. Her team captured a thermal image of small shapes moving along the floor and an EVP of a child saying, "I want to go to the Lincoln Zoo." A volunteer named Emily from a 2017 tour shared that she was in the primate house doing a late tour. While there, the air got thick and she heard kids giggling. She thought it was visitors, but the building was locked. Then she felt a tug on her jacket, but no one was there. Her tour group heard a faint voice say, "Stay." She got chills and bolted from the building. In 2019, paranormal author Ursula Bielski led a session at the primate house asking, "Are you glad we're here?" A voice replied, "I love it. Julie caught you," referencing events manager Julie. Bielski believes these spirits are tied to unclaimed graves. In 2020, a visitor named Lisa recounted her experience at the zoo. "I was in the primate house with my son. He's 8 and kept saying a girl was following us. I didn't see anyone, but he described her, pale, in a dirty dress. Later, I heard a whisper say, 'Mama.' No one else was nearby. My son still talks about her." Cafe Brower is a 1908 landmark and is another hotspot. Located at the zoo's south end, it was a Prohibition-era speakeasy, drawing mobsters. Now a wedding venue, it's haunted by shadowy gangsters. Guests hear laughter, clinking glasses, or see figures in suits. In 2020, bride Emily told American Ghost Walks, "At my reception, a man's voice said, 'Nice party,' behind me, but no one was there. The room froze, and guests saw a guy in a pinstripe suit vanish." EMF readings spike near the bar. As I said, its Great Hall hosts weddings, but at night it turns into something else entirely. Glasses fall, footsteps echo, and a man in a vintage suit lingers. In 2014, a guest at a Bielski lecture snapped a photo with orbs near the doorway. One of the cleaning staff, named Maria, had an experience in 2021. She was sweeping the Great Hall around 1 a.m. when she heard heavy boots echoing behind her. She was alone. Then a glass slid off of a table and shattered. A cold rush hit her, like someone ran by. She told her boss she was done with night shifts. She said, "That place is alive." The lagoon, site of the suicide bridge, hosts shadowy figures and sobs. Historian Adam Selzer, who leads haunted history tours, shared a 2018 story from an employee named Rachel. Rachel was closing the south gate by the lagoon at midnight. She heard a girl crying, clear as day, from the water. Concerned, she searched with her flashlight, thinking a kid was lost, but it was empty. The sobs didn't stop. She ran to the office and never took that shift again. In 2023, visitor Michael posted the following. "I was at the ape exhibit at dusk, chatting with a guy in suspenders and a flat cap about the zoo's history. He seemed real. My friend later said no one was there. She swore I was alone. I can't shake how normal he felt." Security guard James shared a 2015 incident from the area near the barn. He said, "I was patrolling by the barn at 2 a.m. I heard a low moan like someone in pain. My flashlight caught a shadow darting across the path, but no one was there. My radio went static, and I felt heavy, like I wasn't wanted. I avoid the barn now." A construction worker in a 2020 interview described an incident from the 1990s. He was fixing a fence by the barn when his hammer slid across the ground, like someone had kicked it. He was alone. Then he heard moaning that sounded deep and sad. He packed up his equipment and left. He said, "That place is cursed, no question." 2022, a tourist posted on a Chicago ghost tour forum detailing her paranormal encounter. She said, "I was by the lagoon taking photos one night. I felt a cold spot and heard a woman sobbing. My photos showed a misty shape by the water. The guide said it could be one of the Pontius sisters. I haven't gone back." Apparitions in 19th century clothing wander the zoo, oblivious to the modern crowds. They appear near the farm in the zoo, built over graves, and the Laughlin Memorial Building. In 2021, a tour member said they saw a man in a top hat by the petting zoo. Thought he was a reenactor, but he melted into nothing. My kids were spooked. These spirits, likely cemetery residents, were disturbed by construction. Objects like keys and cameras move, and photos capture orbs or misty forms. There's a playful spirit named Sweet William, who appears as a skunk near the entrance of the zoo. Guides suggest it's a ghost animal from the zoo's early days. In 2024, tour goer Andrea said, "I saw a skunk dart by, no smell, and it vanished near a tree. It was odd, but charming." Sightings are rare, often with soft rustling sounds. Former director Lester Fisher shared a 1962 incident during farm in the zoo construction. Workers found skeletons, some in rotting caskets, others loose bones. The city said, "Leave 'em." That night, they heard moans and saw shadows near the site. Fisher linked the zoo's hauntings to these graves. Another zoo visitor said that at the zoo's farm in the zoo, they saw a couple in old-fashioned clothing, a man in a frock coat and a woman in a bustle dress. They walked arm in arm, then vanished near the barn. Another visitor stated, "Two people I know had conversations with strangers at the zoo, seen by others, only to learn the person was dead. One for 24 hours, another for 5 years. They looked alive, not ghostly." These interactions suggest spirits mingle with the living, unaware of their fate. The zoo's activity isn't just stories. In 2011, Chicago paranormal investigators used EMF meters and infrared cameras, detecting spikes near the Lion House and capturing orbs. Now I'm going to jump in here and say, I'm not one to count orbs as the be-all, end-all evidence of ghostly activity. Too many things can be photographed as an orb, and that would include dust, pollen, rain, snow, sleet, probably hail. Basically, any small particle in the air with a flash looks like an orb. So it's very hard to say that it is definitively paranormal in nature. There are paranormal orbs, there's just not as many of them as you might think. Continuing, a 2019 investigation recorded EVPs in Cafe Brower, including a whisper saying, "Get out." In 2015, a spirit box session near the lagoon picked up a voice saying, "Help me," which chilled the investigators. The show Ghost Hunters visited in 2013, recording EVPs and capturing a shadow figure on thermal near the primate house, though they debunked flickering lights as electrical issues. But why is the zoo so haunted? Probably the 10,000 to 25,000 unclaimed graves are a restless foundation. The suicide bridges hundreds of deaths add emotional weight. The construction in the 1960s, 1980s, and 1990s disturbed remains, which likely agitated spirits. Some say Lake Michigan's conductivity boosts electromagnetic fields, amplifying paranormal activity. Skeptics blame creaky buildings and animal noises, but consistent accounts from staff, visitors, and investigators lend weight to the hauntings. The zoo leans into its spooky side with October haunted history tours led by Seltzer and lectures by Ursula Bielski, which sell out fast. Guests report orbs and photos weekly, and ghost hunters flock to the Lion House, Primate House, and Cafe Brower with thermal cameras and spirit boxes. Lincoln Park Zoo isn't just a wildlife haven, it's a window into Chicago's buried past, where forgotten souls echo alongside animal calls. From the lady in white to ghostly children, its spirits weave a haunting tapestry. I can't help but think about those Pontius sisters, so young and so lost. Or the lady in white, forever gliding through the Lion House. It makes you wonder, who else is still there, waiting to be seen? If you're visiting, the zoo is free, open daily, and offers ghost tours via www.lpzoo.org. Check out Cafe Brower's stunning architecture, and maybe catch a glimpse of that man in the suit. If you snap a photo with orbs or hear a whisper, email us at lurkpodcast@yahoo.com. We might share your story next time. Picture yourself at the zoo after dark, the enclosure silent, the lagoon still. You hear a sob or see a shadow by the primate house. Would you stay, or would you run? This place, with its graves, tragedies, and spirits, feels alive in a way that's both beautiful and terrifying. It's a reminder that some stories, human, animal, or otherwise, never truly end. That's our ghostly safari through the Lincoln Park Zoo. From the lady in the Lion House to Sweet William's skunk scamper, this Chicago gem is a paranormal jungle. Whether you're chasing spirits or snapping polar bear pics, the zoo delivers chills. Got a spooky tale? Share it at lurkpodcast.com, where you can read our blog, meet the team, or join our newsletter. Catch us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever it is that your podcast prowl. If this episode raised your hackles, drop a 5-star review, tell everyone, even the barista at your favorite coffee shop, and keep the Lurk flame blazing. Watch the lagoon, listen for those whispers, and until next time, keep lurking.